We're starting.
Yep. All right. Welcome, everybody, to our coverage of the NBFL Draft Grade Review Show. This is our show detailing everybody's draft class, their draft grade, how they did for their needs, how they did for value, and everything else along those lines. So with me, we've got League Commissioner Bazakstein, two-time defending champ, obviously picking 32nd then, so we'll see if he got any value with later picks. We've got Dash, the champion of low TV Chaos Dwarves. He made a trade up that we'll talk about, I'm sure. Looks like Astaflix is here, who is changing races, so we got some good compensation draft talk to get to. And of course myself, XCon, the coach of the frogs, I guess. We'll just go with that. So, how's everyone doing tonight?
Pretty good. It feels good to finally be interracial again.
Well, I'm excited for this show. I love draft stuff, whether it's, NFL, NBFL, whatever. This is my kind of thing. I've got a huge article ready to go whenever this is done. I'm going to be pulling clips from it as we go. So, as opposed to literally every other time where we go alphabetical order, this time I'm throwing some people a bone. We're doing reverse alphabetical order, which means we start with the great Garkangel and his Wood Elves. So,
And of course, he isn't here.
no.
I was going to say by people, you mean Gark.
By
now he's going to complain that you went to him too early. And...
Well, you know what? We've warned him for weeks now that the show is coming, so. Regardless, we start with the Woodington Barkskins. That's Gark's Wood Elf team. NFC East just missed out on the playoffs, and he desperately needs some agility on the team, which, Wood Elves, they're all AG4, but apparently you need some AG5 to really make it go, and he got one. He moved up in the draft, 16 to number 9. Got Danny Kwan, catcher, who's going to have movement, agility, wrestle, and guard. I think he also had block, but obviously... Wait, did I do that wrong? No, he had dodge. That's what it was. He had dodge. So, loses dodge because he starts with it, gets the stats, gets the double, gets wrestle. Hell of a player. All of us were pretty much in agreement that we love this pick.
Yeah, it's a pretty obvious one. Some people would say wrestle and guard together is not great, but I think it works just fine on that kind of player. But really, he needs the guard's not the primary thing. I mean, he has... this will give him he'll have 3 guard with this, and then both dancers are strength 4. Like, you can make that work, but he'll have some 5 edge finally. I mean, he's been giving me shit for a while about cursing him, so he's not allowed to get any.
No, yeah, definitely a player he needed, and he didn't really need a whole lot else. He's got great war dancers. He's got, a great passer already. He just really needed that one catcher, and yeah, should be great.
Yeah, it's going to be great to play against him twice this season. Yeah. Truth be told, I would have moved up for this player if I didn't need 2 blitzers, but because I did, I couldn't afford to, and now I got to deal with him. So
I'll say, up until now, this is the best pick of the draft.
Bold statement there, Asti.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on, we've got a coach who joined us in the chat to listen in. That is Gotrek, coach of the Titan Sea Krakens. The Nurgle, who didn't need a whole lot. They've got the Bloaters, they've got 3 Pestigors, so he needed a lone Pesty boy. Moves up from 10 to 1. Ends up taking Everett Paulson, the former sidekick Bull Centaur at Gallaudet. Block, break tackle, strength, movement, tackle. So, strength 4, movement 7, has block, has tackle. Very nice piece to potentially deal with those damn Wood Elves, the new Orcs, and, of course, MRT as well. So, is this a good move? Do you guys fear this player at all? And how does the break tackle thing work going into the new rule set next season?
For this player... Yeah, for this player, it'll work exactly the same. I mean, he'll get to dodge on a 2+ once per turn, which, hey, pretty good. Overall, I mean, good player. He needed the tackle, absolutely. Strength 4 is great. I mean, movement 7 is good on this player. Trading up made sense with how strong his team is. This is all he really needed. It was kind of a weird situation where there's not like a super clear guy to pick first for the role he needed, but this guy also was not going to last till 10, most likely. So trading up, grabbing him, I think that He's somebody that could be good against some elves, which he might play a few times in the season.
Okay.
Also, specifically against me, since I have all the strength 2 catchers, I mean, that's a 3-die blitz with no assists whenever he wants it.
With tackle as well. That's a good point. Okay. So we got pretty good grades across the board. 2 B pluses, 1 A. No complaints. Hopefully GoTrek puts him to good use in the AFC South. So next up is another Nurgle team. We've got the Tijuana Charros. That's Amon's Nurgle team, and our first team we're covering that actually made 2 draft picks. So Amon's staying put, and he needed 2 bloaters. He lost 2 late in the season during his playoff push when he won the West. Gets 2 very late in the first round and very late in the second round. We had kind of mixed opinions on it. Dash and I were more in favor, just some solid replacement players that he needs with some good skills. Baz not as big on, I think, the break tackle, right?
Yeah, I mean, to me, like, there's 6 really, really good normals you can get on an Nurgle Warrior, and then there's like a 7th pretty good one in tackle. And break tackle's not any of those, and it's actually going to be worse in Blood Bowl 2020. So I mean, you can dodge once per turn on a 3+, opposed to now where it's at least a 2+, so you can like marginally get use of it. I think I'd rather have just taken a bloater with block and try to get a couple MVPs on him to get guard quickly than taking what I'd have as a dead skill. The other one's decent. Again, I don't love tackle on it, just because now, you're going to take either stand firm or claw next, but you're not going to be able to get both most likely. But tackle's a much, like I'm not going to blame someone for taking it. It's just not what I would. My grade has more to do with just like his second bloater. I'd rather have just had a rookie bloater than.
Okay. So
it's a late pick too, though. So I mean, what else is out there at that point? And
yeah,
it's a serviceable player.
I mean, there's a I don't know. You can take a block dodge Rodder. That would be better in my opinion. Just because
really,
my problem with it's not the player; it's that I literally would rather not have a draft pick than have that player. I'd rather just have a bloater with block.
I would disagree since you're 4 SPP away from another skill. But I mean, the skill slot being null is important. But
well, it depends. How long is Amon planning on playing Nurgle, right? I mean, if this is his last season, then okay, fine. But like, if you're going to play even 2 more seasons, then I'm quickly like, okay, I don't know if this guy's worth it. I mean, I'm going into the next draft thinking I have to draft a guy to replace this guy that I just picked.
Yeah. Late second round pick, made the playoffs. I don't think he can play too much. But regardless, we can belabor the point all we want. He got the 2 bloaters. We'll see how he uses them. And teams are looking up at him in the division for once. So
just to sprinkle a little bit of Nurgle love on top.
Uh-oh.
I think Baz's assessment is correct. I would, however, also point out that the block dodge Rodder would be a terrible time if you plan on keeping Nurgle in BB 2020, because dodge is 40k on a Rodder, which is slightly too much.
Slightly expensive.
Okay. I mean,
I will say now, I am not looking at 2020 because these players have to live through a full season.
14 games plus playoffs potentially. Yeah.
I don't know. I've been looking at 2020 for like a year, so maybe I'm doing it wrong.
All right. Well, moving on to our apparently 3rd consecutive Nurgle team out of 3. The Tampa Bay Swamp Monsters. They're a new Nurgle team on the block, coached by Zelron. I'm assuming is how I pronounce it. He's going to the NFC South. He's looking at the Nurgle problem of having the 8 positionals, and he looked to solve it by trading down not once, but twice. So trades down from 9 to 16, picks up a second, and then trades down from 16 to 22 with somebody here, if I recall, and picks up another second. So he gets all 4 bloaters in main, and there is no way in fuck that Will Craig should have lasted to the 22nd pick. I'm going to yell at a bunch of you during this broadcast because of that. Gets 3 Pestigores in the Expand draft, but we're going to start a discussion by did he pick the right ones, and the answer is no, so go ahead. Somebody go ahead.
Yeah,
so I mean, you need everything. You're picking 2 ball carriers. That's
not only that, you picked 2 ball carriers and you didn't pick the right
You'd
one.
even pick the best one in the first round.
There's like you could have gotten an 8MA 4-edge block sure hands ball carrier that's just better than Derek Brooks, better than Don Stantry, and I mean you've got 3 pests you drafted. None of them are like blitzers. None of them have mighty blow. It's just like on their own, they're each good players for sure, right? Like if you'd gone with a bloater or more like traditional blitzer and with your first pick, then I think Dane Gentry's an awesome pick in the second, but just not with what you already took.
Right. If you're going, I mean, you're not guaranteed that guy in the third pick of the second pool. To be fair, I did kind of pencil him in the preview, but I'm not always correct. But there's so many good players in the first pool, and I understand wanting Blodge, I guess, on the guy, but MA8 is just so sexy on a Pestigore, on a team that's just slow as hell.
Yeah, the MA8 is just being able to score quickly. It's so nice, and it's only going to get nicer in Blood Bowl 2020 if they live. Now, obviously, like the 2 skill rolls could be pretty good, and I imagine that we're going to see 2 heads taken as one of those regardless, which will at least help offset the Edge 4. But still, I just don't think that was necessarily the right one. The bloaters, with Kent Taylor, I have the same problem. They just talked about it. I don't like break tackle on them. Sidestep's expensive, but like sidestep's good. It's probably not going to be worth the $40K and compared to Stand Firm, but I'm not going to fault you for that one. And then the other 2 are just, good solid bloaters. So the picks in Maine, the trading back there, I think largely works. But, it's the 2 carriers.
Yeah.
So this might be a controversial opinion.
Uh-oh.
I think this draft could have been absolutely incredible. The reason being, I actually really like his second expansions pick with the AG block, kickoff return, sure hands, and sidestep.
Right.
I think that's a really strong carrier. And there's a justification for Derek Brooks if you don't want him as a carrier, but rather as a ball hawk with the 2 skills possibly getting you a stat. But my problem with Travion is he's a pure carrier with no dodge, and he's never going to get dodge. But the bloaters carry too many skills that are superfluous that drive up the TV. This could have been a really good Nurgle submarine team with skipping Travion because Travion's really expensive, just going low, going slow, but with the way that both of his drafts interact, it detracts from both experience. It's either you go big or you go small, but you don't take players that are designed to be in small teams and used with inducements, and also take a sidestep bloater in the main.
I mean you're Nurgle. You're not going to be able to lean on inducements. No. It's as a team. It's not like you're one of the most expensive teams in the game.
We're going to cover your team, Asti, and you had the similar problem where orcs have the 8 positionals, and you went the opposite direction. And it makes more sense since your 3 blitzers that are rookies start with block. His guys don't. So he has to most likely use this trade down strategy. And for the most part, I like the team. There's a few things he could have done differently. You have 3 guard, at least you're probably taking guard on the other bloater, I'm assuming. So I think the team has a solid base. There's not a guy we can point to who's all right, this is our guy who's going to stop someone on defense. We don't have the mobile hitter or whatever. But otherwise, I mean, I like the draft. I didn't love it, so I gave it a B. But I don't know.
I do, just as a quick, I do like sidestep on a bloater, but that's just me, and that's weird. But foul appearance and sidestep work amazingly annoying together sometimes.
Right. It's
true. I mean, I'm somebody who at one point had 4 sidestep on my dwarves, which was awesome. So like I'm a big fan of the skill. It's just with doubles becoming more expensive. And if you're a season 1 team, I do think you need to look to Blood Bowl 2020 some, just because like you're probably not going to compete at a super high level in season 1. But yeah, Detroit did have some really cool blood step loaders.
That's
that
true. Those
entire
guys
team
were-
was super interesting.
Yeah.
How many times did they win the Super Bowl?
They got to a title game once, if I recall.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyways,
So, moving forward, we actually have a kind of an awkward situation. Are we allowed to tell everybody the news about Seattle?
Yeah.
Okay.
So K9 has had something come up in real life and has to drop. So working on getting somebody in to replace him. Obviously, the timing's not ideal with it being just after the draft, but he definitely wanted to be able to play. Isn't going to be able to play. So
It's a shame because I thought he had a pretty solid draft class with, let's see, there's a Black Orc, 3 Black Orcs, a really good Blitzer, and a Thrower, which we could have talked about, but it doesn't really
the
matter.
throwers but the rest of the draft is strong, and it's like the third X-Band pick's not going to make or break a draft anyway.
the thrower makes no sense. I would rather not have a pick, but it's absolutely an A draft. Like,
I mean,
not a
it's
shred of doubt in my mind.
you could make an argument that you're right. The thrower doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, that's pretty much why I gave him the
Hey,
pick.
he's
The
block,
thrower
accurate,
is,
strong
why
arm,
would
so
you
you
want
gotta-
that thrower? There had to be something better.
There's like a guard
And-
stand firm Blitzer or 2, which we can
Yeah.
get to later. But anyways, I mean, if you're on a short drive, you get that guy to throw the
They'll
ball
all
to
go
Joey
back in the draft pool
Mendez.
for whoever takes over the team.
Yeah, so we'll cover that team later. But I don't know. It would have been a nice class. It's unfortunate that he has to drop, but that's them's the break sometimes. So next up, we get the San Francisco 69ers. That's Nico's Necro team, and for some reason they need a werewolf, and it's because they randomly lost one against some frogs in the very final week of the season. So sitting at number 17, there was a pretty good werewolf candidate that fell to him. And then in the second round, he decides to take a zombie without block that has 3 doubles. But it's Nico, so that's not super surprising. Usually he takes like a passing ghoul in the second round, so maybe it's an improvement. But I do love the werewolf. It's got Blodge, it's got Mighty Blow Tackle, it's got Juggernaut, and I love Juggernaut plus Frenzy. So, doesn't have a stat, doesn't have anything super sexy, but I think it's a great player. Hate the zombie, but got the werewolf he needed, B-.
Yeah, as soon as the zombie dies, I'm going to upgrade mine to an A. But until then, it can stay as a B. I mean, that's a perfect wolf. Like, it's wolves are another one of those where like you really don't even need obviously stats are good, but you really that player's awesome and has such an obvious role, and it lets King Kaepernick lurk a little bit more since he's carrying the niggle right now. But having both your wolves with a tackle and mighty blow, I mean, it's hard to really argue too much with that. And besides that, I mean, you didn't have really any other needs. So
I would have liked to see him trade up or just really do anything else at all with that second pick.
Just don't take that zombie.
Just don't take that zombie.
Trading up would have been better, possibly.
I would have traded up and taken the same damn player. Honestly, that's such a good werewolf.
I just want to point out that zombie costs 140k in skills in BB 2020.
How much
well,
did it cost
hopefully
right
it dies
now?
by then.
Yeah.
It
costs
costs 110.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
And it's not just a bloaty zombie. It's a bloaty zombie that doesn't have block.
Doesn't
or
have
wrestle.
block.
Like that's just. I mean,
But it does have Dauntless, so you have better chance of, I don't know, whatever.
It's just a big guy. It's a big guy who's been strength broken twice.
Yeah, basically.
That's the way you gotta think about it.
All right.
He needs frenzy on that zombie so bad.
Okay. Well,
okay,
moving along. Okay. We love the wolf. Didn't love the second pick. Solid B-, C+ area. So this, I wrote in this grade a week ago when I started this article. The rest of the grades I filled in today. I love Robo's draft. Not because of who he took, but because of who he didn't take. He didn't take a 5-skill Chaos Warrior when he needed a warrior. And it was my former player, and I did not want to play against him twice this season. So thank you, Robo, for passing up the 5-skill warrior. A+++++. I don't even care what else you drafted.
I'm gonna be honest. I was really wondering where the A++++ came
Yeah,
from.
that was different.
Yeah, like you know, I don't know. It's fine. Block guard, that's solid. Wrestle, tackle, strip ball, jump up is 4 skills.
Doesn't make any sense.
It's
I mean, the skills make
it's a
sense
useful
together.
anti-elf player, but
It's an interesting thing where like there were points in the Rex development where I'd be like, okay, I can see that, because it's kind of, I mean, it's a player he doesn't have, right? He doesn't have a sacker type.
Yeah.
Jump up is, sneaky interesting. But the issue is he's just kind of lacking guard right now. I mean, even with his draft pick, he only has 4. And I would have really liked to see both picks adding guard to the team.
The Warrior's better than his first pick. And he would have gotten his first pick in the second round.
I do think that player could have been available in the second round. It's somebody I was looking forward to perhaps getting, but it wasn't to be.
Yeah, I mean, you
Anyway.
could have justified maybe trading back and seeing if you could have got another decent pieceman as well, if that's really what you wanted to do. And yes, Gark, you were late. You knew we were starting backwards. We all basically said your pick was awful and he's never going to work because you're not allowed to have 5 edge, so he's going to die game 1.
Or fun.
Don't say game 1 that you're jinxing the kills. He's gonna die in game 2 now.
Oh, what a shame.
Yeah.
Alright, so I would have liked Robo as an unbiased commentator to take the 5-skill warrior in the first round that fell to him at 18, and then add, a block guard beastman or whatever in the second round. But he didn't, so my unbiased viewer, or my biased viewer just loves this draft. So I'm very happy as his division rival.
See, that's typically a bad sign when your division rivals
Is happy with their
A
draft class.
plus.
I wouldn't recommend
Yeah.
that, but all right. Moving forward, here's another team that I thought could have taken the same. I'm going to harp on this a lot. And you guys like this draft class more than I did. But Dutch Life, with the 4th pick in the draft, takes a plus strength, dodge, tackle, frenzy, blitz raw. And in the second round, early gets a block, guard, skill, Tomb Guardian, which is a nice Tomb Guardian. Has block, has guard. But you literally already have that blitzer on your team that you drafted last year. They're almost like carbon copies. I think the other one has Mighty Blow instead of dodge or something.
Yeah, they're pretty much the same.
So they're overlapping a little too much for my taste, and I would have rather, again, taken the 5-skill guy as a Tomb Guardian with block, with guard, with tackle, with Mighty Blow, with stand firm, and then gotten like a Mighty Blow, guard, tackle, blitz raw as your second round pick. I think
So
that
you-
would have been better. But
So
I still
you-
like it.
You wanted him to take the player that fell to 22 at 4.
Well, everybody who passed on it was wrong. So
Well,
yes.
that's fair.
Yeah.
So yes.
No, I mean, yeah, it's not, it's not bad to have the also 4-strength blitzer on your blitzers have to do a lot with Kimmery, and your Tomb Guardians are taking up space. And with block guard, you can take up space.
Yeah, obviously I gave it an A+ because I think that those players work very, very well. I think you could definitely justify taking the plus strength block Mighty Blow, blitzer strength player Jackie Simpson as your blitz raw at 4 instead. Just if you want to avoid the 2 frenzy thing, but like Kimmery's one team where I actually really, really, really like frenzy, to the point where I don't hate having 2 of them, especially if they're both coming with strength 4. I mean, you're going to have all these strength 5 guard roadblocks in front of you, so it shouldn't be too difficult to get the knockdowns you need. I will say that like the plus strength's a little less good moving forward once break tackle changes, because otherwise, like, I'd be strongly considering break tackle next on this guy if it was still the using your strength as edge. But overall, I mean, I think that this was one of the best drafts, period.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know nothing about
Definitely
Kemry,
a very
so
strong draft.
you might want to pay more heed to your opinion than mine, but I just...
Well, go look at my NWBL record before anyone
No.
listens to me about Kimry. I'm, you know, yeah, Wog. I'm surprised you're up at 10 billion o'clock.
Yeah, he swore he wouldn't be, and he listened to the show on the way to work, but we appreciate it regardless. So, moving forward, we got... oh, man. Do we have to, like, wear cones on our head or, like, have pie thrown at us or something? Because next up is the New Zealand Chariots, and we just poo-pooed their draft and their team last year, and god damn it, he made it to the AFC title game. So, we kind of... apparently we were wrong about that.
I want to be very clear. I was not involved in the poo-pooing of his team last year.
Okay.
I probably would have been, but I wasn't. This year, yeah, I will shit all over this team because he picked a minnow.
He picked a minnow. We'll get to that. So, needs 3 blockers going into the draft. He had 3 rookies. Gets a very nice one late first. Guard, dodge, plus movement. Get to those, far away places for Chaos Dwarves and put the guard assist. And then late in the draft, he takes an awful Minotaur that just elevates his TV, and it's just, dude, why you got to do this to us?
I mean, this might be a little harsh, but I think Wolves would have been better off just sleeping through the entire draft and picking nothing. But the Minotaur, it's just, having a Minotaur and Chaos Dwarfs to begin with, and then it's like with 3.
Doesn't even have block.
None of them did in the draft. It was bad.
I don't really like the blocker either. It's just again, Chaos Dwarf blockers have so many good normals, and I don't think dodge or plus MA really moves the needle all that much with them. I'd much prefer some stand firm or some mighty blow and some just normal functional skills. Not even to say holding on to the doubles for claw. I don't know. I just don't like either player.
Yeah, I mean, he has a minnow or had a minnow on his team with break tackle already. I mean, what? This guy's not giving you anything that your crappy minnow that's already on your team doesn't already offer you. It's just...
I do like stand firm and guard. Those
are better.
Those are skills.
Those are skills.
Definitely.
Those are the only skills you need on a big guy.
I would rather not have the bull. Period. Just get the minnow off the team.
Get him off the team.
You've got 3 hobgoblins that are all better than this minnow.
As I mentioned in my comment, Wolves' draft was so bad that I fully expect to see him making it deep into the playoffs again.
I mean, he did have a deeper run than Dash did, and they have a very different Chaos Dwarf philosophy. So
that's very rude.
I'm not insulting Dash. I'm just maybe he knows something we don't. And
no, his bull centaurs that everybody crapped on because they didn't have block and they just were these stat freaks that were going to do the same thing were just amazing.
Apparently. Yeah. So maybe he gets lucky on the rookie blockers. Maybe they just get guard, which is absolutely fine. Yeah. Oh well. He'll just have to prove us wrong as per usual.
Also,
yeah, I expect him to be in the playoffs with
that team.
He'll probably he's got to cut that thing midway through the season.
Or someone to do it for him.
I kind of hate his Chorf blocker choice as well. I don't rate plus MA on dwarves at all. Dodge is going to be much worse in BB 2020, and it's already very fringe.
But he's got 2 Blodge 24 ones already, right? So it's just difficult for a lot of teams to block him effectively.
I don't think an NBFL 10 extra TV matters. I wouldn't really call. And I mean, in this specific case, that's offset by MA being cheaper. So the player's literally going to cost the exact same. So that's not really a reason to be against it.
I mean, what? It's
all
60K in skills I would rather not have.
Let's just not worry about 2020 and everything. It's fine. Opportunity costs. Yes, Wog, you're learning. We get it. So, moving forward, it's my team, the Frogs. We needed 2 blitzers. We stood where we were, and we got 2 blitzers. So, whoever passed on Todd Santos in the first round, thank you. Fantastic blitzer. Had a couple options with the second round pick, and decided to go with some Frenzy because I wanted it on the team and haven't had it, so apparently everybody else liked it. So please heap some praise onto me so I can finish 4th in my division again.
I like him. I mean, Santos is obviously an awesome blitzer. Already has blodge, has guard, has plus strength. Like, you definitely know what he's going to do. I think his next skill is probably
Sidestep, maybe?
well, yeah, that would work.
Or
I was thinking
Stanford.
stand firm, but
Yeah,
both work.
Stanford.
Yeah, either way.
And then the other one's good too. I mean, Frenzy, some little bit of pitch control, also has block and sidestep already. It's now. I mean, the downside is you didn't really take anything to help you find that elusive second touchdown in a single game. But
yeah, I do have a lot of 1-to-1 games for some reason.
but I do think they're both very good players.
No, I think you did good. You got 2 players you needed, and good value for you. Got them. They're perfect for what they're going to be. So
Yeah. The only one that could maybe raise some questions is your second pick. I think your first pick's a slam dunk. Your second pick, so sidestep and frenzy have a natural synergy, right?
Sure.
However, typically with sidestep players, I like to go guard after on them, and on frenzy players, I like to go juggernaut mighty blow.
Oh, he's going Juggernaut 100% at 51.
Yeah, then you're gonna skip dodge on him.
Yes. One thing at
fair.
a time. One thing at a time.
Yeah, that's
Oh, no.
fair. It's just
Juggernaut into dodge, if he lasts there, could make sense. I mean, you don't really need Mighty Blow on your Frenzy player. He's there more for pitch control than removals.
Yeah.
Well, I've got the Mighty Blow one, so he'll be the Frenzy sideline guy. It works.
This is me talking. Who, when I have Frenzy, they just stand there for like the entire game and might blitz twice, maybe if it's like I'm particularly using it a lot.
Apparently, Garg is not a fan of you guys giving me tips. Not that I need any. All right, so we'll embargo more frog strategy by moving forward. So moving forward, apparently everything's about me because the Nolans Lost Saints took easily what is the best player I have ever had in any Blood Bowl league or format or whatever. Kyle Harmon single-handedly won me a championship with his double MA, double agility, and block. And now Brasky gets to waste his career at the pro level on a team that doesn't even sniff the playoffs. But you know what? It's a player he needs.
Ouch,
it's a great
that's
player.
Pretty harsh.
Dude, he was 2-3-9 last season. Come on.
That's pretty harsh.
And then the second round takes another guy to hit people with. His roster is so... I don't even know how to describe this roster. There's so many banged up players and just weird. I just put this little like meh face in the draft notes, and then it got a B because Kyle's just so damn good. He may actually win some games. Go ahead.
If I could go back and edit this, I'd add a couple pluses after my A, because this might be the best draft in the draft.
How many pluses do you want? I can still edit the file.
I mean, only one. Like, anything that's not really needed.
Yeah, he got a great player at 5 because the great player was still there at 5. I'll give him some credit, but that second pick is just not anything he needed. He needed a Dark Elf.
I disagree. He has 5 guard on the roster, and 5 guard's not enough for Chaos Pact. You need like 8.
Agreed.
So, like, I think that player is going to be on the pitch every single turn that it can be. Now, I don't disagree that a Dark Elf would be good too, but like you can build a Dark Elf that does everything you want a Dark Elf to do, while like you have now, one of the best carriers in the entire league. I mean, it's 9 MA, 5 Ag. Like all of a sudden you can one turn easily. And then Block Guard Mighty Blow, I mean, that's, pretty standard. I don't love his team as a whole because I do think a lot of his linemen are built in interesting ways.
Yeah, aimless is the word you're looking for.
Yeah,
or awful.
But I do think looking at his team, like guard something he desperately needs more of.
Yeah, if he cuts some of those injured guys, and this isn't just I'm going to add yet another hitter on the team, then I would move the grade up, but I don't think he's going to do that.
You're not a big fan of the minus Ag, minus AV line work?
How many total
it's a line art
does he have?
Wog did nominate him for an award. So
Yeah, he's got 7 stat downs on his team. That's
yeah, the 2 minus edge, really all the minus edge isn't that big of a deal, but the rest of them are tough to carry.
the minus 80s. There's a lot of minus 80.
Yeah. Okay, so team aside, the draft was productive
Incredible.
for the Saints, yeah. So we'll see if they can do any better. A team that doesn't need to do any better because they're just so damn good is the Miami Corona Blights. And for some reason, we let Rel draft another stat on his gutter runners. This one's plus strength, also has block sure hands guard. Second round takes a block mighty blow line rat instead of like a block guard guy that was available, but I think it's literally going to be the only mighty blow in the team. Or no, the second blitzer has one. So I would have liked the block guard guy better. But god damn it, guys, we let this happen to Rel again.
So
Yeah. Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did. I don't love the strength, but it doesn't overlap with any of the other gutters, and so it's just like perfect. And it is guard.
Yeah, I think this is great, and I do like the block mighty blow just because that's the second mighty blow on his team.
because you're
I guess he'll have a rat over now, so now he's okay. So he'll have
So he's gonna
3 mighty blow.
he's gonna double his casualty output from last season.
I mean, he's not trying to do that, but you do want that blitzer. That blitzer is going to be missing games. That blitzer is going to be a target all season.
So the only thing I want to say about his gutter runner is I don't like guard.
Guards,
What?
What?
Why do you not like guard?
I mean strength. Sorry, I mean strength.
Yeah,
I love guard. I hate the strength.
Okay. Yeah, the strength is not great, but you don't have any other stat options at the time, and it's just another
it's
tool in the toolbox.
it's an I mean it's a fine player. It's good. Me and him talked some before he picked, and there were a lot of things he was considering because nothing like quite felt right. But that's a player with a pretty clear role. I mean, you don't love having 2 sure hands. It's kind of like meh, but having a strength 3 player who can hold the ball if you can't do a full screen, and you can squeeze the guard in there when you want, and you can possibly use the plus strength to blitz open holes when your blitzers are out of the play elsewhere. I mean, it's fucking Rel. He's going to figure it out. And the other player's a line rat, and line rats don't matter.
It's true.
Read.
What do you take next on this guy?
On the line rat?
No, he's dead. He's gonna be dead by like week 5. The gutter runner.
Sidestep.
Okay, that makes sense. I was thinking maybe
No, you weren't.
2 heads. Get that.
2 heads is a double, so
Oh, duh.
if you double, you have a lot to think about. But
If you
It's
double,
kinda-
you take claw.
Anyways,
Tentacles.
Yeah, plus right.
did you say tentacles?
Synergy with tentacles.
He's saying claw. I'm going to say tentacles.
This is why we love you
yeah,
guys.
take tentacles and then take
Shadowing.
shadow when you have legend, so that if you get away from the tents, you can then shadow them and make them do it again.
That would be your favorite player
That's
of all time.
insane. That's the smartest thing I've ever heard. Dash say.
Okay.
No, guard gutter runners are great. A mobile guard to go get you out of trouble. Always going to be helpful.
It's MA9 and it has guard.
Yeah, one of these
Yeah,
days
that's
we'll
it.
convince Nelfine that that's a good strategy, but he apparently doesn't believe in it.
Nelfine is insane.
We also finally
He's-
converted him to stand firm, which he did not believe in previously, but that's another discussion.
Nelfine only believes in strategies that get you to the playoffs and no farther.
Wow.
I see.
He did win some playoff games this season. Or just
He did,
one.
That is true.
I forget.
Alleged. Yeah, he won one.
He won one. That's more than a lot of us won. So
Yeah, they'll
All
get
right.
there.
So, moving
good.
forward, we had a little disagreement in the grades, and we're going to have a long discussion about this one, as we always do. The Manglasota lichens, I guess.
Fuck back.
So,
Fuck Dash.
this is just this is Lord Bass's new Necro team that we apparently already hate, except for Dash. So, in the X-Band pool, he's sitting there with pick number 6. And just really, really, really wants this flesh golem. Potential flesh golem. He's like lusting over him. I'm talking with him prior to the draft decides to move up by trading his second pool pick with Arcane to take this guy. Trades down in the main draft to kind of counteract that a little bit. Ends up getting another werewolf. The draft class is one thing. There's some interesting pieces. There's some bad decisions. But the team overall, which we won't really cover until the season preview, I just want to go ahead and say this is going to be literally the worst roster I've ever seen at the NBFL level. He has one guard on this team unless somebody rolls doubles. One. One.
Well, no, he could take guard for skill on the other flesh
go to
column.
die. The Cleveland
the other-
Browns.
the other
of
goblin, the other
NBFL.
white.
But anyway, so trading your second pool pick and expand to move up in the first expand is questionable. I also think it might be the best thing he did. The 6th strength flesh golem is really good. It's going to be extremely expensive in Blood Bowl 2020. But it's a very good player that absolutely changes the way you can play. My problem is some of the others. Like the wolf he takes in main, plus strength block tackle is great. Problem is it comes with pro. And there was another player that was on, I believe, 48 SPP?
44, I'll check right now.
45 SPP, who is plus strength block tackle, which is just like a better player, right? Like, I mean, in 6 SPP, you have dodge or mighty blow, and that's just better. 2 whites, neither of which have guard, despite having 9 total skills between them. And then the werewolf he got in the second round, I mean, it's a solid werewolf. Like that is actually a pretty decent player. But again, like wolves really want dodge. It's just the problem's really the whites. I mean, I don't know what the especially the one he picked in the expand draft.
There was
I don't
like a
know
guard
what that
stand
one's
firm
doing.
one available, if I recall.
Yeah, and I mean, I wouldn't mind like just skipping stand firm since you know they're going to gain sidestep in Blood Bowl 2020. But I don't know. It's it's a really good flesh golem.
I think he could have sat there and let it fall to him. I think Zelron might have taken it as a bloater, but he probably could have been talked out of it. So,
Well, I think it's more likely that he could have traded to somebody after Archaon and not had to like lose a pick entirely. Like just flip second,
like flip
pool
with somebody.
picks. And
We're gonna get to
they were gonna-
Archaon's team, but he made out like a bandit in that trade.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he won that trade for sure. But
The
I
draft
think,
commissioner somehow, steals a draft pick. Investigate Arcane for collusion.
Probably.
I will
Anyways.
say these Necro will win more games than either of his last 2 teams because at least it's like, a functional race.
A functional team.
So the only thing I want to point out is I've had extensive discussions privately with Baz about this.
Uh-oh.
You have?
Yeah, Jerome McDougall was the second best flesh golem of that kind he could have picked. He didn't pick Roy. He should have picked Roy.
The guy
I don't know.
The guy you took?
Yeah.
The block,
I've had
mighty blow,
a-
strength, diving, tackle skill?
I've had a
Yeah.
talk with somebody who is a very, very good Necro coach, and he supports the pick Lori Bass made. So,
That's insane. 80 is wrong.
well, I mean, that's rare.
He's got a point.
It's 160k in plus strength in one season for a rookie team.
Is it in 2020 yet?
Yeah, just you keep bringing up this 2020 thing. We got to get there first.
Okay, so let me put it this way, right?
To be fair, it's GW. There's like a 20% chance everything changes before
That's
we even
true.
get there.
Yeah.
So Roy has more SPPs, correct?
Yep.
He is thus more likely to get to legend eventually, right?
Sure.
The only way in which Jerome McDougall is better than Roy is if both players get to legend, but in that case, they're both in BB 2020, in which case he costs 80k more. So that's,
Well, maybe if you guys fight it out on the pitch, we'll have like a battle, like a WWE thing, like 2 big guys go in, 1 big guy leaves. We'll see who's really better. I'd watch that.
Also, do you take Mighty Blow or Stand Firm now on the Flesh Golem?
The guy who
I'm
already
pretty-
has stand firm? Yeah, I'd take it again.
And this is why listening to
Stanford.
Asti is not necessarily the best thing to do.
all of your necro opinions just got downgraded.
I mean, to be fair, earlier I was like, oh, you would just take 2 heads on the gutter, and you guys are like, oh, that's a double. I'm like, oh, right.
Yeah, but you've only played like 3 different teams ever, so like it's defensible that you don't know things.
That's a very valid point.
I've never played a team that doesn't take stand firm, so I just say stand firm.
That's fair.
Stand firm's a decent skill.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna move on. We love Lorebass. His drafts are always interesting. We have something to talk about, so it's always a bit of fun. All right, here's a draft we can talk about some because you guys liked it a lot more than I did, and that's not. The picks weren't bad, but based on both blitzers being permed on the Los Angeles Clams, I really would have liked him to replace at least one of them. Because looking at his roster, Los Angeles Clams. 1 is minus AG. He's guard, mighty blow, dodge, tackle. Still serviceable. But James Woodard with double minus MA, guard, tackle, mighty blow, stand firm, leap. I feel like he needs to be replaced. So instead he gets a really nice catcher. He also needs catchers, by the way. And then instead of taking another catcher, he goes with the wrestle, movement, leap, lino, which I'm sure he'll get use out of. But again, I think there's blitzers and catchers who are just available that are better.
I mean, that's pretty deep into the draft, but yeah, maybe. I will say
I can point out like
following
2.
Stim, I'm pretty sure the more perms he's carrying, the better his team does.
That is true.
You know, Destroy Hill did have minus MA, minus Adge, minus MA, minus MA, minus MA, minus Adge before he died, as an example. But it's really just like, you know, he needs catchers as well. And that first catcher pick's that's like a perfect catcher. I mean, that's you know, it's a very clear role. You know, you're elf, so you can get use out of strip ball. It's not that far from superstar. The second pick, I'm more meh on, just because like I don't know how much I care about getting plus MA on a lineman. But I wouldn't have minded him going a different direction there. But I think the first pick's really good, and yeah, that's pretty much all I was thinking.
Yeah, and he's picking way late because he's really good, which is, you know.
It's true.
Yeah, I mean,
look at the chat.
But
Those are 2 players I would have liked much better as a catcher, or like even a blitzer for the first one. It could be either one.
What? You would take a wrestle guy as your blitzer?
No, he's skilled, so he would be a catcher. The first guy could be either or.
They both could be either or.
I prefer the first guy as a blitzer, the second guy as a catcher. I would like that more than the lino, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
All right. Still, he's going to find a way to get to the NFC Championship game, as always, because it's Stim, and he makes water out of wine, or vice versa. I don't know which is more impressive.
Wine out of water?
Sure,
that's
whatever.
Less, good.
It depends what you're going for, I guess. All right, so potentially the draft I like the most belongs to the Las Vegas Evaders. That's Wintergreen's new Elven Union team, which will finish with more wins than Asti's team. I'll go on record and say it now.
Okay.
That's just kidding.
Might not be hard.
That's just kidding. I love your team. So, Pro Elves trades down once in Maine from 8 to 14, gets a catcher, 2 catchers in X-Ban, a fucking great blitzer in the second round, with the 6th pick, no less. And then main draft gets the better werewolf should have been that Lorebass didn't take at 14. Takes another great blitzer at 40 and a very solid serviceable catcher at 46. So home run draft, 2 blitzers, 3 catchers. They all do something different. 1 scores, 1's for defense, 1's for offense, sideline control shit. I don't know. They're all good. Wonderful draft. Go ahead and agree with me.
This is the second best draft.
Bold, but okay.
No, this is good.
I'm not joking. I think this is the second best draft in the entire draft. Like, this is an amazing draft. The only thing... This is a playstyle difference. I think is Blitzer in the Pool 2 of X-Pan. I don't like Dauntless. But...
Really? He's got
I mean,
Lizards and Nurgle and
Dauntless
Chaos
is-
in his division.
Dauntless is very viable as a fourth normal on a player that starts with block and sidestep.
Yeah, that's why I said it's a play style thing.
Yeah, I'm just, it's hard for me to. I don't know that necessarily I would take Dauntless as the fifth skill on that player with the other four, but like I would not fault somebody for doing so.
I mean, you've also got this is an elf team in the NBFL. You're going to have to tackle some strength 4, strength 5 ball carriers. You need some help, and you have 2 guard now, so you're gonna have to do some work. I mean, it's a great draft, but the team is gonna need
Very
every bit of
strong
those
draft.
skills.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, like
So I like Dauntless there.
almost every role you need filled is already filled. You'd like to get a little more on your sacker, but like wrestle and dodge means you're already on the way there. Yeah, and I mean you're pro elf, so you're gonna be able to come in fairly lean. So you'll probably get some wizards. I don't know. I think Wintergreen's gonna have a pretty good first season.
One would think.
Yeah, and he also didn't have to trade down too far to get the
Plus
to
strength
trade
guy.
down. So
Yeah,
I think he's still got a good player.
for sure. Wog,
I think
Dauntless always works. Don't lie.
It does. I once lost a game because a wood elf catcher used Dauntless against my strength 6 Saurus to open up a 1-turn opportunity.
Oh, Blood Bowl.
I also think that Wintergreen has a very strong chance of making the playoffs.
Well, if you win your division, you usually make the playoffs about 50% of the time. So, speaking of his
50% of
division, it was a joke. The Kansas City Cows, coached by Garnack, this will be their second season. They needed a warrior and defensive beastmen, and so with the 6th pick, he got what's pretty much a awesome Chaos Warrior, plus strength, block, mighty blow. Second round, a guy that I was hoping to get as a Frog Blitzer, but takes Joey as tackle, sidestep, wrestle, dauntless. We'll have to talk about it again. But are we slapping guard? Or are we slapping tentacles on Jackie Simpson with his next skill?
This is why I think this was the incorrect pick.
Oh,
Based on history, he's probably taking dodge.
he's probably taking dodge. Yeah. We've ruined the best player in the draft last year. But please continue.
I mean, I'm fine with either. I mean, they're both good. Whether you want to go if as long as your next 2 skills are any 2 out of guard, tense, and stand firm, then I can't really complain.
As long as he, actually takes those skills.
Let me complain about this. I love strength 5 tentacle warriors, right?
Sure.
I like plus strength, block, guard, mighty blow, stand firm warriors, right? I like plus strength, block, guard, claw, mighty blow, right?
So what are you saying he should have taken instead?
So you're saying that he has lots of ways to get to good player.
Yes, I'm saying he has lots of ways to get to a good player. However, block, guard, stand firm, tentacle, plus strength is the only player that I would say is game-changing for Chaos. So completely game-changing if he didn't have Mighty Blow, which sucks, because Mighty Blow is a good skill.
Yeah, but I mean, Mighty Blow still... You can still create a good player with Mighty Blow, and it's not like there was another plus strength warrior option that didn't have Mighty Blow.
That's correct. I'm just saying it's very sad. Like, if you could have him at whatever his skill is with block, guard, plus strength, I would love it.
His second round pick, I wanted that player myself. B, I'm not a big fan of the Dauntless on it because it just doesn't make sense on a Beastman who has horns, and so I would have preferred him to go something else. But tackle, sidestep, wrestle, I think is very necessary when you have like Wintergreen and other elves in your conference. So I don't hate it, but
Yeah.
I dinged him a point for that.
Dauntless is pretty close to a dead skill, which we'd rather not have. But, the other 3 are solid enough in unison. It gives him a second sacker type, which, there's definite value with. The tackle's nice. There's elves and skinks in his division, and so yeah, I mean, I think that it's fine.
That's true. He does have both Sorai and bloaters to deal with, so
Also, when that Dauntless works on Tailgater, it would be hilarious.
that will be pay-per-view kind of stuff.
And
right.
you have to blitz to get horns, and he's probably not a guy who's blitzing much.
That's true too. You could be in contact some, so you might get some use out of it that way. Especially with the sidestep, there's enough strength 4 that you're going to be playing against, and there is even some strength 5. I know that the lizards have not only the strength 7, but they have a strength 5 source as well. I think they drafted another one, and then I know that the Nurgle have obviously the Beast of Nurgle, but they have a strength 5 warrior on top of it. So you can find like marginal uses, but for the most part,
Yeah. All right.
If you take horns and claw specifically to hunt Tailgater, you're the chattiest person I've ever seen.
You're an absolute legend. That'd be almost as chatty as Nelphine doing what he did, but we're not there yet. So, MRT is up next. That's the Jakesonville Jordals, the high elf team that I swear not long ago was the best team we'd ever seen, and now they're just finishing third in their division all the time for some reason. So,
I don't know what happened.
Yeah, who knows?
Other players died.
I have it on video. But main draft gets a hell of a catcher, movement, blodge, sidestep, guard. Second round gets a hell of a thrower, and so now the official MRT one turn is back, and we should all be terrified.
Yeah, he did really well.
MRT one turn is going to die again, which sucks because I like MRT.
Yeah, I mean, we all want MRT to do well 12 games out of this season. But yeah, it's a good thrower. I had dreams of that thrower falling all the way to my second round pick, but alas, that would never happen.
Probably.
But I mean, I strongly consider that thrower at 32, and like that catcher is awesome.
Yeah, that catcher is very nice.
Yeah, that's like a perfect player. So like it's kind of hard to do better than that. To get two really, really good players that are both almost completely built, that's not bad.
Not at all. All right, so that covers that, and we finally get what we've all been waiting for: the Indianapolis Dorks. Did I say that correctly?
No.
Well, please go ahead.
The Indianapolis Dorks.
Indianapolis Dorks. Okay, there it is.
Alliteration is my passion.
Yeah. All right, so Asti changes from the Norse, and now he's going to literally terrify the league with a low TV orc foul heavy strategy, but now he has armor, so he's no longer a glass cannon, and I think we should all be pooping in our pants. Because this is a very, very good draft class. Has the last pick. He's like, oh, woe is me. Except that I get a strength 5 black orc at the end of pool 1. Then with the first pick of pool 2 and 3, I take just perfect black orcs. And then I trade up in the first round without even knowing what the board is, and the best orc blitzer possible falls to me at 7. And so you've got to be very happy with this class.
Yeah.
Well said. Anyone else?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good draft.
Waiting on you guys to say something.
It's a good draft. I think losing your second round pick for the player he gained, makes sense. I mean, that's a strong carrier. He's gonna only have a couple guard to start with. I'm assuming he might take some on his other blitzers. I don't know.
6, actually.
6, yeah. I mean, something like that. I don't know how low TV he'll actually be, considering he has a troll. But
what?
He has a troll.
I'm going with a troll.
Huh.
Also, he's starting with 8 rerolls.
How'd you know?
But yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty good. Will it do as well as his Norse did? No, but hey.
No. You don't think
that's a hot take.
You don't think the AV is going to make a difference when he just tries to file everybody into oblivion with bribes?
I do not think he will win the Super Bowl his first season. Therefore, he will do worse.
Fair point.
That's a high bar, but yeah.
No, it's going to be a good team. And I predict he'll do better than 0-7 in his first half season.
Yeah. So, there's one thing I don't understand, right?
About your own draft class?
Why did you all grade B?
Because it wasn't as good as the other drafts that I graded higher.
It's
What?
just
That's
it's a
insane.
philosophical
Very
thing.
okay.
I like
It's very.
I like your
it's
team. I like your team better than Zelron's, for example, but I like his draft more, just a little bit. But Wintergreen's obviously, because those guys were like, I need 6 or 8 positionals, and so I'm going to try to fill that. You went the
Yeah,
opposite direction because you have block on your starting guys, and so while your team is probably more competitive out the gate because you have block guard or whatever on those blitzers. I mean, just having 4 players makes the class like weaker in theory. They're great players, though.
You're in a spot where it's like one rock, or you happen to play a claw team early, and it's like, oh shit, I don't have a team.
I mean,
That was it worth the trade? Yeah, I mean that's why Stravia is B plus. But it's, and also, I mean, you took diving tackle and tackle in your Black Orcs. Why would you do such a thing? It's like you expect to play elves.
I will say, I don't really like my second round Black Orc, but it's by far the best Black Orc I could have taken at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, when you have 4 elves and 2 elves in your division, you're playing 4 games a season, having tackle on a Black Orc's not necessarily as bad as it would be elsewhere.
I mean, I think my draft is... I tend to build my orcs the same way every time, and this draft just allows me to build my orcs that exact same way again.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good, right? It's just I think it's a hair below great.
Okay, I guess Wintergreen has the best draft in NBFL then.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the only one better than yours, but yes, that's one of them.
Well, next up is a class that
it's not better.
Is not better than his, apparently.
No, not according to me.
Absolutely nobody liked it, not even the guy who did it himself. The Houston Treants, picking last for some reason, get a very interesting catcher. You love shadowing, so therefore we all knew you were going to take it. Gets movement, gets shadowing, blotched up.
I'm not even sure I wanted to take it, but I felt like I had to.
Just obligatory. Yeah, I mean, I get it. Second round, you go with the Blodge Lino. You could have taken, guard, dodge, catcher, but you know what? Maybe that Lino will live long enough to do something.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, both of those, I think that there was arguably a better player on the board at each pick, but these are obviously the direction I went. I do like that McGrew is 3 SPP from adding sidestep, because I always need more sidestep. I don't have nearly enough yet. I only got, 4?
Wolves,
5? Oh, I have 5 now.
Wolves seems to agree.
Yeah. But I mean, that's been one of the biggest changes as my Wood Elf team has evolved, is finally getting the amount of block step I actually want. But, I think that the thrower I was talking about earlier that MRT took, I think that you could definitely have justified that at 32 instead, just because it would add a dimension to the team I don't really have. And then there was that guard catcher, but it would have been a 1 skill player, and I would have had to cut a block sidestep catcher to get it. So this is where I decided to go. I don't think it's great. I think it'll be enough to beat Asti, but I don't think it's great.
Something tells me you'll be fine.
Yeah, I don't think your team is worse than before the draft, but I don't think it's better. I think it's just like a side grade.
I mean, shadowing is a top tier skill. Sad that I couldn't get Hail Mary pass. Although I guess I could have taken Hail Mary pass from one of my throwers. Maybe I need to change that.
There's still time.
Yeah, what happened to all the 2020 looking forward shadowing anyway?
Well, I'm not sure how much my Wood Elves need to look forward to 2020.
Fair point.
Breaking news.
Well, we'll see. I mean, it's going to be... The whole time I was considering doing 1 season of 2020, but I won't do more than that. Eventually, I'll need to move on to something new.
Did Wolves kill your thrower?
Yes, you did. He was minus AV going into the game, and you killed him.
I think he blitzed that guy way off from the screen and killed him, and then you were just like, okay, I'm gonna march downfield. Yeah. If memory serves.
He was a good thrower. He was one of only 2 players left on the team from the beginning, and he threw a pass in almost every game and then did nothing else.
Classic thrower stuff. All right, so moving on to some other team that may be successful.
Good.
Yeah. The Green Banana Grabbers, of course, coached by Gru. 2-time Super Bowl runner-up, for better or for worse. Needs a gorilla. Maybe replace one of the 2 chimpanzees if at all possible. 'Twas not. So takes a gorilla with 31. Block, mighty blow, tackle, break tackle. Again, break tackle, we all know. 63 gets a block, sidestep, bonobo. Probably not long for this world, but gets 2 doubles on the gorilla that he doesn't have normally. Solid B. Not a whole lot to talk about.
It was good. I mean, it's a good gorilla. It's a gorilla he needed. And the second round pick's kind of just a throwaway pick, but like you got to pick something. And sidestep's cool.
Yeah, I mean, you pick that late, you get what you get. He got what he needed. It's a boring draft, but
yeah, I mean he's up to like I think 8 stand firm or sidestep on the team. That's an impressive amount to deal with, especially with that grab, that frenzy. His pitch control will continue to be like arguably best in the league. It's Gru. You know,
Most people would agree that it is Gru.
Yes.
It is technically Gru. Alright, so next up is technically Dash. And it was an interesting draft. He traded up from 22 to 16 and took a 2-skill Chaos Dwarf blocker, which he had a perm blocker, which is what he needed to replace. Also had a perm bull, but after Paulson was taken early, there's literally like no other good bull centaur except for maybe the Chaos Warrior that Garnak took. Either way, they're all gone. So he takes a 2-skill blocker.
Jamon stole the guy I hoped I could get a few picks earlier.
Was it like plus strength and guard?
I mean, there was nothing left in strength blitzer category. That's all I needed.
Yep.
The team certainly didn't need any other players. So I mean, I might as well have not drafted. But it's from a draft standpoint, it's an F. Is the team going to be okay? Team's fine. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's a C just because, I mean, obviously y'all can tell I grade harshly on skills that I find wasted, and this does not waste any skills because it doesn't have very many. Like, it's okay. I mean, you look at his team and it's like, okay, he doesn't need a second pick. The only thing he needs is to replace a Chaos Dwarf blocker, and it doesn't have any skills that I find bad.
Crash.
So, guard mighty blow gets another skill in 1 SPP. I like it more than some of the other, Chaos Dwarf blockers we've seen going, which have more, interesting skills, but just skills I would never personally take normally. And so I, would rather have this. But yes, on paper, it's pretty awful to trade both of your picks for a guard, mighty blow, Chaos Dwarf.
Hey, 1 SPP away from being a complete bust.
He either has claw or he has stand firm.
Yeah.
In 1 SPP. Or strength.
I mean,
God
or
forbid.
strength, or,
God forbid. Those are literally the 3 options.
Well, that's pretty much it. Claw, stand firm, or strength.
That's
going to be
it.
one of those 2 things.
Yeah. Okay.
Some people think that Chaos Dwarves are the best for value at 3 skills. In that way, he gets an A+. In any other way, he does not.
Yeah, I didn't need to I probably didn't need to trade up to get this guy. I don't think I did, but what was I going to do?
But you also didn't want to add to your TV more than the 2 plus strength hobgoblins.
I've got 2 plus strength hobgoblins, and one of them needs to die in a hurry, so I can be a little more efficient with my TV.
Exactly.
Well, I won't do that for you, even though we're going to play. I can tell you that.
I won't do that.
Yeah, that's why I gave you a B-, because you got rid of the potential second pick, adding TV. You got a lean Chaos Dwarf blocker, and like we said, he's getting 1 in 3 skills next, and all of them are good. So I like the move because it made sense for your team and your philosophy. So I was a little nicer than these other grades were, but
yeah, you graded it too high.
Yeah, I usually do. It's kind of my thing. I'm nice to everybody except Lorbass for some reason, which is a shame because I love Lorbass. But we also love Denver Broncos, possibly. Jamon's Lizard team from the AFC West. He needs, God forbid, to cut some Skink Blow, but he also needs to upgrade on 2 Sora. I think they were just block, and that's it. So, at number 12, stole the guy Dash wanted. Shame on him. And this is typical Jamon. doesn't mind taking Project Sorai, who don't have block yet. He's done it in the past. So, Mighty Blow plus Strength Guard. What was it? 9 SVP away from block, hopefully. Second round takes a 4 skill guy who's literally a casualty away from another skill. Block, Mighty Blow, Frenzy, Break Tackle. Yes, Break Tackle. We talked about it. But you need 2 Sorai. You get 2 Sorai. One's functional. One's a bit of a project. Will be perfect when he gets blocked. So you guys liked it a lot. I gave it a B+. No complaints.
Yeah. This is going to be, this is a really good draft for this season. That break tackle is going to be unfortunate, going into 2020. But, he's going to have quite a bit of that if he sticks with the team. So, is what it is because it is one of the better source skills now. So,
yeah, it's great for this year. Going forward, but it's this year. And
Jamon's had a couple good playoff runs. If he plays for this season, that's his record last season wasn't good, but he made playoffs 2-3 seasons in a row before that.
Kept getting further each time too.
So if he gets back to the playoffs this season, then both these picks are very good. And Grammatica is going to be. You need him to get 2 MVPs or an MVP and 2 CAS, and you're in business there.
Or 3 touchdowns. Just saying. It's possible.
Yeah, A+ for stealing the guy I wanted. That's all I have to say about this one.
His team does have a problem of miscohesion because one player is clearly drafted for the long term, while another player is drafted for the short term.
Yeah,
long-term 9 SVPs is not really that long.
You should be able to get to 51 by mid-season. On average, get 2 MVPs within the first 7 games.
Then you have half a season of no block, and you have half a season of break tackle still being efficient after that.
You could literally get to 51 after 2 games, or hell, with some casualty luck 1. So,
sure. You could also not do that. And
who else is available at 44 that... sure, there's guys who are just block guard. There's 57 was block guard, break tackle. We don't like that. There's a Mighty Blow guard, stand firm at 52. We don't like that. So the strength category was not good this year. I blame all the other strength teams in the league. So, you're getting a good player who's got one small deficiency at 44.
Maybe the block sidestep guard, he's liked sidestep in the past on his Saurus, but I don't know. It's definitely one of those picks that's you're gonna hate that break tackle long term. And so maybe an A was a little high. For those of you listening, I spend 15 seconds on per team deciding these things. So
it's true. I can verify that.
But it's a very good player for this one season, at the very least.
Strangely enough, I think all of his picks were the best in slot, but I think that he still doesn't get the top grade just because they don't work together.
All right. Well,
I think they do work together.
You take what you can get, I guess. So moving forward, the Dallas Crowbar. That's OTS's NFC East champion Dwarves.
Who's?
OTS.
Who?
Anyways. So, doesn't need a whole lot. Already has great runners. Has got sidestep, diving tackle, literally everywhere. So, of course, he gets another one in the second round. First round gets just standard, perfect 4-skill Troll Slayer. And this team is no fun to play against. But he's good at drafting, good at playing them. So, we all like the draft overall. Didn't get a death roller, unfortunately. I was very disappointed. So,
yeah, again, this is all those are good skills, right? That Troll Slayer, that's those are 4 of the 5 normals you'd like on a Troll Slayer. On a dwarf team, maybe tackle's not something you'd be jumping for, but it's definitely good. And then sidestep and diving tackle. Diving tackle is very good on dwarves, especially with how much he already has. It's going to be an expensive player in the future, but he's also going to have 5 diving tackle now. So have fun, Gark, and XCon, and I believe diving tackle. Does diving tackle work against Leap in Blood Bowl 2020? Because I think it does.
I'm sorry, what did you just say?
does Blood Bowl 2020 leap ward diving tackle?
Yeah. Actually, let me check real quick because I want to say I remember that, which means it's probably wrong. But no. Nope. Yep. Against
Yeah.
dodge, jump, or leap, you now have diving tackle works. So
Okay, I'm officially switching next season.
The slang literally don't exist.
That's a fair point too. We're going back to space or whatever. All right, so draft was good. Team's no fun to play against, but does a good job with them. So here's a team that always has very interesting drafts, and we've got varied opinions about it. That's the Cleveland Bedlam, Captain Malcor's Chaos team. They desperately need anti-elf beastmen because the 3 times he's made the playoffs, keeps losing to different elven teams in the playoffs. So, goes out and gets a Block Mighty Blow Frenzy sidestep guy in the first round. Second round, very late in the draft, takes a Block Agility Warrior to replace the one-time fantastic Saurus Scorus that became an awful Chaos Warrior a couple seasons ago. So now he's got a younger project. It's kind of like when Palpatine got rid of Count Dooku for a younger, more powerful apprentice. That's what this feels like. So, rest in peace, Tevin Paul. You're my favorite ball-carrying Saurus of all time. I'll give hail to Wyatt Bulldog Simmons.
I do find it somewhat funny that he did replace that warrior a season before the break tackle actually will become relevant.
Better. It's the strip ball. He ruined him with strip ball.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's not the point where I think he was a ruined player, but that's okay. I think he was ruined way back in CBB. But let's start with the Beastman. Beastman, it's a solid Beastman, you know? I mean, he doesn't have any Frenzy. Frenzy Beastmen are... Well, he has a Minotaur. Okay. He doesn't have any good Frenzy, even though I love Minotaurs. And I do think they actually might be worthwhile in Chaos. But, I mean, a Frenzy Beastman, you blitz at Strength 4, so that's useful. Sidestep means you're protected on the sidelines. Block, Mighty Blow, that all makes sense. I don't like 4 Edge Warriors. Me and him have... I mean, I've made this clear. I think that it's, taking a player out of its role. That's just Greece. So we've got a little bit.
That's is very much into the defined gender roles.
Yeah. No, anything that looks interesting is bad unless it has shadowing or Hail Mary pass.
It's true.
Agreed.
No, and I disagree completely. I think an AG4 warrior can dodge away on a 2+ and go be where he needs to be.
Look, here's the thing I brought up in the chat the other day. That sounds cool. Like, you don't have to worry as much about Zap. You don't have to worry about the Strength 3 whomever leaping in there with Wrestle and whatever, assuming you have no guard around to make it a 2-die. But you literally have a Strength 4 Blodge, Sure Hands, Beastman on your team already. You don't need another Strength 4 ball carrier.
No, he's not going to be a ball carrier. He's an emergency ball carrier.
You have 3 other Agility 4 Beastmen on the team to be the emergency ball carrier.
I mean, we've also seen a couple seasons worth of Malcor using his Strength 4 warrior as a ball carrier. And he scored 10 touchdowns. He completed 6 passes. He wasn't like the primary one, but, considering the other 2 that he has have 15 touchdowns and, where they've each played, I think, an extra season than Paul did. Yeah. I think it's pretty clear that he carries on it a lot.
The touchdowns are actually pretty scattered. Joey, who's agility, has got 6. Scott, whose agility, has 15. Beastie, whose agility, has 15. And Clayton, whose strength and movement, has 9. So,
which is kind of cool, being able to move the ball around based on what you need. And I mean, I imagine different of these have been the primary carrier at different times. But yeah, I don't know. It's just, I wouldn't have taken it.
Well, so long, Tevin Paul. Hello, Wyatt Simmons. So we'll see how he does in his potential career. Next
Potentially the worst trade back I've ever seen in NBFL.
He didn't trade back?
As in, like, trading something that's good for something that's not.
I don't think anybody thought that player was good after he took strip ball. But anyways, that's enough about my former
It
player.
was better.
Now we've got a new team, Humans, mind you. Service and his Chicago Bear Arms, very nice name. New challengers in the NFC North. He's gonna have his hands full. It's gonna be a tough division. With Humans, he went. He kind of had some interesting picks. I love the second pick of both the X-Pan and the main draft. Love both blitzers. Hate the third round blitzer in X-Pan. Hate the Lino third pick in main.
Oh, I didn't even realize that was a Lino.
Yeah, it's a Lino.
All right.
It's basically the zombie that Nico took without Dauntless. So, and then of course we've got the double throwers. I don't think even taking the one in X-Pan made sense, and then he kind of goofed a little bit and took the one in main, and he's now a thrower instead of a catcher. So he messaged me and said the plan is to have Cole play on offense exclusively, and then Rogers will play defense for the most part. And so when the ball hits the ground, he comes in, punts it, grabs it, whatever he needs to do. So it makes sense. I can be talked into a C+. I love the blitzers, but the Lino, the double thrower, it just...
The fact that you just told me that he doesn't plan on playing all of his draft picks all of the time tells me it's not a good draft.
To be fair, I did skim over that message because I had just woken up and there was a lot of words and I could not deal with that many words at the time. So I could double check it, but
yeah.
So yeah, I think that, you know, as you said, 2 of his blitzer picks are really good. I think that his third X-Pan pick, I don't like it. Drafting a blitzer without guard needs to be a very special circumstance, and Allen's awful right now. I did not realize that was a Lino, but yeah, 2 throwers. I don't mind drafting one. I don't really mind Brownholtz. It's not necessarily the thrower I would have taken, but you know, I think with Humans having either a plus edge thrower or a plus edge catcher has a lot of value. But originally he did take the second one as a catcher before he realized that, you know, catchers won't be able to throw in Blood Bowl 2020. But it's just, that just needed to be a blitzer. You already had your carrier type, and so that just really needed to be a blitzer. And that being said, you know, he has Hail Mary pass, so if he uses it, that will bump my grade up to a B-. But I need to see it used multiple times first.
I do also vaguely remember he mentioned that one of the agilities will become dodge or something.
No.
But if he's only agility 5, so yeah, he shouldn't be able to drop it because AG6 is outlawed.
He'll be able to turn it into plus PA
pass. That's
PA
right.
If you want.
Okay.
Maybe he misunderstood what I told him, which would be unfortunate.
Right, it's only agility 6 that's outlawed now. Although some people might argue agility 5 should be too, but that's a whole nother discussion. So,
no, agility 5 is, if anything, underpowered, I think.
Okay. So, some good picks, some questionable picks. We'll see how the team does. I do love Ryan Fitz's suggestion for his logo right here, the little bear arms guy. That's great. Maybe Lorbass can touch it up a little bit. So, all right. So next up is somehow another human team. We haven't had any in the league for a while, and then all of a sudden we have 2, and they are alphabetically next to each other. So, easily the best draft in the league. No offense to Winter Green. Archion literally just like stole a pool 2 pick from Lorbass. I'm just going to say it. It was so much value. He gets a strength 4 Mighty Blow guard blitzer at the 6th pick of pool 1. Gets another blitzer for free in pool 2 with Mighty Blow tackle guard. Gets a block guard Lino. Gets... I don't know. Do you guys like this Jason Armstrong pick? He's obviously amazing. Did a lot of great things in college. Doesn't have block yet, but he will. Gets an agility thrower in the 2nd round to team up with him on offense. So he's got, 4 guard. He's got a scoring threat. He's got a thrower. He's got some tackle. Got some stand firm. Even got a frenzy. I mean, Is this a perfect draft?
It's a good draft for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of what I just said, right? Like, I want a carrier, a really like agile either catcher or thrower, and then I want a bunch of blitzers. Well, he got 3 good blitzers. Like, and all those blitzers, I mean, those are all good skills, right? Like, I mean, you can quibble over the frenzy, but everything else is stuff you take. There's no wasted skills there. Block guard on a lineman's always good. Armstrong is, well, a human catcher is one of the places he really makes sense. He will lose a plus MA for a double, so that will, he probably won't use it on a double because there's some pretty obvious normals he needs. As far as choosing Armstrong or Harmon, I think you could flip a coin, right? Like, I can argue flat around on that.
Yeah.
I probably would have leaned barely towards Harmon, but like 53 to 47%.
That's oddly specific, but okay.
Just like it's really close, and depending on how I felt when I, sat down that day, could have changed it. And then the thrower, I mean, I don't, again, like, I don't love drafting both a thrower and a catcher. That's really good, but with it being your second pick, I think it's more defensible, and that's a really good thrower for a second pick.
Yeah. Agility, kickoff return, accurate, block, so he's not defenseless. Tackle if you have to use him on defense too as a safety. I mean,
you should play him both ways for sure. I mean, like, it's a 4-edge block tackle player who can pick up the ball and throw it. That's all good stuff. Especially because I imagine Armstrong will not be on the pitch on defense.
Is that defensible?
Not playing him? Yes.
Oh, well, you're probably right. Nelfine apparently would drop this draft grade simply because the team's human.
I mean, okay. But yeah, no, I mean, it's defensible not playing him on defense. I mean, I always had a one-turner sitting on the bench when I was playing Rats.
Right.
It's obviously, like, here you have, that's a ton of TV to invest in a player on the bench. But until he gets block, you just might not want him out there. When he can just kind of come on and with a single push and literally, like, 2 pluses with a single 3, you have a touchdown.
I don't like that pick, and I've gotten flamed for it a few times, so...
Please tell us what you would have done instead.
I don't like that it's going to lose an MA, that it doesn't have block.
I mean, the MA will literally turn into block.
Yeah, I was going to say, he could take it as block, assuming he doesn't get to 176 before then.
The MA is going to turn into sprint.
That's not how it works.
Yeah.
No. You might not realize this, but I've posted like 17 times that if you lose an MA or lose an edge, you can choose a double or normal to replace it.
So sprint.
If he wanted to turn it into sprint, he can, but he's not going to.
Sidestep
Why not?
Just objectively be better.
Yeah, but
Well, block is needed because you're going to carry on him. But anyway, that's kind of beside the point. I mean, I can see why you'd argue about that player. I mean, it's a hard player to figure out where it fits, but it's going to be a fact. I mean, as far as a player who opens up options, it's hard to find a player that's going to open up more options than that one.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So here's a team that, spoiler alert, Dash slept on, and I've been waiting to unveil this one. I don't know.
Here we go.
I don't know how you dislike this draft. This is, of course, Draft Master Wog. I have given him nothing but A's 3 seasons that he's drafted.
How many times has he made the Super Bowl?
Bro, he just made the playoffs and beat. He should have beaten Gru. I'm gonna be honest. He had a very good opportunity to beat Gru in that game. But anyways, this was a great draft for a Dark Elf team. He got not 1, but 2 guard players. There is no reason that lineup should have made it to him that far in the second round. And getting movement and guard and dodge on the first round, which I believe is replacing the minus AV guy that he has.
He has a rookie, but I don't know which one he's replacing.
I talked with him earlier. He's still deciding, but I don't care. That's a great player. Dark Elves love guard. They love blodge. He's got both. Great draft, especially that late in both rounds.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's quite good. It's probably what I would have picked at both picks. You know, his big issue is going to be his witches are worse. But like, you know, they got hurt, and witches, like one skill wrestle witches are like
Good.
perfectly functional. But it would definitely change what his team can do, assuming he is cutting both. I know getting Carlson niggled in the playoffs really hurt for that reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I think it's good. Dodge plus MA guard. I mean, that's an awesome blizzard, right? I mean, you get another 8 in MA out there, you get another guard out there, you have a very obvious next skill to take. Block guard on the lineman, you know, again, like guard's awesome. You know, get that thing to dodge. You have basically a, you know, ready-made player that you already have some more of. I don't know. His team's getting pretty good. It's going to change this season, but I really like both these.
All right. Assuming there's no other discussions, we've got another Dark Elf team to talk about, and I was the opposite this time. I was lower on this pick than you gentlemen were. So we got the Buffalo Chill. That's Jeffro's second season Dark Elf team. He needed one Witch and Guard Linos, and he trades up, I believe, early. So again, board's not clear. Ends up taking Priscilla as a Witch Elf. Block, Strength, Diving Tackle, Sidestep. Very nice player, solid. I've tried the Diving Tackle, like, sideline piece Witch Elf before, and I didn't love it. I also probably didn't use it super correctly. But I think you could have gotten that player at 14 or something comparable. There was like the block, strength, tackle guy that Wintergreen took at 14, for example, which is the spot he traded from. And then because he's picking before Wog, he could have gotten that block guard lino for himself in the second round. And I would have liked that better. Because you need guard. The Witch Elf is cool, but it doesn't have like Juggernaut and all these other things that I think are worth trading up for. So I didn't like it as much as you guys did, but please go ahead and disagree.
Yeah, it's a good player.
I really like it. I really like that Witch Elf.
Like actually thinking about it, I might have had my grade a little higher if I thought about it more. So
I disagree with disagreeing. I like it.
So the guy who played Dark Elves the longest has the wrong opinion here.
Correct.
I mean, I've seen you play Dark Elves, so you know.
Yeah,
that's fair.
But no, I mean it's a good player. The one thing with it is using. I mean, I personally like Blodge Step Witches. There's a lot of people who don't think that it's the best way to build a witch, which is probably right, but I like them anyway. Damn it. That being said, like with the diving tackles, well, to really make the most use out of it, you got to expose it a lot, and that is exposing like a, you know, AV7 player on a team that needs to keep as many players on the pitch as they can. But still, like 4 strength, Blodge Step, diving tackle comes with jump up, frenzy, like that all works together very well.
All right. Moving on, we've got another dwarf team, God forbid. And this one took us by surprise. We loved the draft, didn't like the team as much, and now Ryan Fitz is out for an encore. Made the playoffs last season and traded down in this draft. Got 2 blockers. Only really needed 1 runner going into it, so getting guard, mighty blow, grab, very nice. Mighty blow, guard, stand firm, even better. Late in the second, gets a sidestep diving tackle skill as a runner. Don't love that as a runner per se, and I do. I think there were options for a better carrier in the first round, if I recall.
I love Hawkins. Hawkins is awesome.
I mean, he came from a great school, so I don't blame you. But
no, so when I first joined Fumble, I played a lot of dwarves. And as I said, I had a bunch of sidestep on that team. And as soon as my sidestep runner died, who was not my main carrier, he was like my backup, my record went to shit. So clearly sidestep runners are the key to a good dwarf team. That's what my anecdotal experience tells me. So I love it. But no, in reality, I do think it's a good, you know, I mean, you have a little bit of speed there. He can hold an edge. And the sidestep's big because, like, if you get blitzed, it's kind of like a half movement. It lets you keep the rest of your team a little more condensed. And he's going to have, well, we'll see if he has much stand for elsewhere. Maybe he'll have some. He did draft 1. And obviously his other 2 draft picks are really good. Like, those are, you know, I mean, Kent is literally the 3 best normals you can get on a blocker, and his first pick is probably the first, second, and 4th best normal you can get on a blocker. So, or maybe first, third, and 4th. You can argue on that. Whatever. It's a great draft.
Yeah, I do think I would have preferred this guy as a runner, though, because playing against dwarves, I feel like movement is probably the most important stat they need. And so when Elrond falls to 42, which means you had 2 opportunities to take him. You could have taken him at 20, but you traded down to 28. You could have taken him again. I think the movement, the block, the sidestep, the tackle. So he has those skills that you were a fan of, but also has movement, which I'm a fan of. So I think that would have been... Well, Fitz disagrees, so you know what? I don't play dwarves, so what do I know?
I mean, 6 MA is only enough if your opponent does not spread the line of scrimmage.
6 MA is enough in every way except for reality.
How many 1-turns? Yeah, there's a couple of times where I saw a opportunity for a 1-turn at the end of the half, and then Fitz just goes and fouls something instead, because that's Ryan Fitz to a T. So, I don't know.
You got to do what's important.
Exactly.
Get the important turn order, important stuff first, man.
Yeah, foul, and then after you've moved everyone else, see if you have any pieces left at 1 turn, right?
That's right.
Okay. So
it's easier to 1-turn without all those other positionals in the way. I think that's how it works.
Okay. So
I
would have liked that. I would have liked that better, but again, 2 very good blockers, a functional defensive piece for the backup runner. So it's fine. I just didn't love it as much as you guys did. All right. So, almost to the end. This is our last Dark Elf team. The Bleaksburg Stranglers, Khazark's Dark Elves from the AFC North. They need 1 Blitzer. They've also got 1 of 2 Perm positionals, and I don't remember what they were off the top of my head. Probably a Blitzer and Witch Elf, maybe? Either way. Sits there at 26.
He has a Blitzer and a Witch Elf that are each minus MA.
Okay, well, to make up for that, he takes 2 MA on this player. That's how that works, right? No? Either way. I love Jed Clampett as a pick. That's a movement 9 Dark Elf, who's, I'm assuming, getting dodge next and sidestep after at 76 if he makes it there. Huge 1-turn threat, which is a game changer for Dark Elves. Also has tackle, so, very helpful against certain teams and certain matchups. That's a long way to go. Gets a kick guard lino late in the second. Probably getting wrestle or block next, I imagine. So, I like the picks. They add stuff to the team that it needs. So, good grade for me. Good grade from you guys. Any further thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, my one issue is Wog literally took a block guard line elf, the pick after the kick guard line elf, which the block guard line elf's just better.
Right.
Now the kick guard is like a touchdown. It's 3 SPP from getting a skill, but you want block and dodge on it. The Blitzer's really good, I think that 9 MA on Dark Elves is a really good thing to have. It's hard to understate that. So I think both these will help his team. He's going to have 5 guard on the team now, and he has a player who can move very, very far.
Yeah, and we somehow lost Astaflix somewhere along the way, but...
Oh, no.
What a shame. All right. So, almost last but not least, this is clearly the pick we've wanted to discuss the most. So, the infamous Natal Star Killer Adams would have been a wonderful Frog Blitzer, just as he was in college. But, yep, goes in Delphine. Didn't need him. Kind of a meme. He's going to die. All right. That was fun. Moving on.
I do like the statistic. He's got 8 Mighty Blow on his Lizard team, which is just fun.
Just fun. All right. So, next up, an actual team with an actual draft that some of us liked, some of us didn't. The Arizona Red Bulls. Klaz and his Chaos Dwarfs, they need to replace 1 Perm blocker, and so they very interestingly took Darius Anderson, who, again, I would have been very fond of as a Frog Blitzer, but Mighty Blow, Frenzy, Juggernaut, Skill. I think he had block as well, but obviously lose it as a blocker. So, potentially you get Claw, maybe you get Guard or Stand Firm instead. I don't think he has Frenzy outside the Minotaur. I don't know if this is the guy you want to be blitzing with, but with Juggernaut, it kind of like asks for it a little bit. And the second round gets a Wrestle Fend, something Hobgoblin, which again, that's a lot of TV for a guy who's just kind of there. But I don't know, Dash, you're more of a Chaos Dwarf guy than we are, so
Yeah,
what about him?
I'm not a giant fan of Frenzy Chaos Dwarf blockers just because they've only got 4 movement, so you're really not blitzing and trying to go make extra hits often. And they're going to be tied up a lot. They're not getting away from anybody. Once you frenzy the first time, you're going to be in a bad spot for the second time.
Okay.
There are people who can do it. He may be able to use it just fine. I'm not a fan. I clearly passed on this guy and took the Mighty Blow Guard guy before that for a reason. So, I mean, they're not bad picks. It's just it's not what I like to do. It's not. I would get myself in too much trouble with it. I like my stand firm guys that stay where I put them.
Okay. Baz, any thoughts on this team?
I don't like it. I don't like Frenzy. I don't love Jugs. I mean, if you can figure out a way to blitz with it a bunch, then hey, maybe you can make that worthwhile. But like, I'll believe it when I see it. Like again, I think a 1-skill Chaos Dwarf blocker is better than that one. Which, I mean, I've had that complaint about a lot of the Chaos Dwarf blockers he's taken, and he's done pretty well in the league, so it's been working. But and then Denny, I mean, he's fine, I guess. It's gonna be a really big Chaos Dwarf team again.
Apparently, there's 2 very distinct ways to play Chaos Dwarves. Either you come in chunky or you come in lean, and a couple guys are going chunky, and Dash is going to try to do the lean cuisine stuff still. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fun to see the different approaches because there's the agile do stuff hobgoblins versus the I want mine to have dirty player and nothing else.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, 2 of these Chaos Dwarf teams made the playoffs, and Arizona was literally like a victory point or 2 away from making it themselves. They would have gotten in if the division rules don't apply where the winner has to get in, because he had more points than OTS, if I recall from the standings. So 7-2-5 is nothing to sneeze at. So clearly, this strategy also works.
I mean, another way
that's
to put it is he had to take he had busy middle of the season and ended up having to forfeit twice. So
yeah, he
really could have made it.
Okay.
No, Chaos Dwarfs are good at this TV, whether it be, as long as you don't have the minnow.
As long as you don't have the minnow. That's the lesson we can take away from the broadcast. All right. So that's all the teams. That's all the grades. We had some disagreements. We had some discussions. It was a lot of fun. I love this stuff. Big thanks to Wog, Arcane, anyone else who was working on the draft board. Baz, Dash, you guys putting the stuff together.
Credit to all the amount of work that goes into the draft board is insane for something we do just,
for fun.
Yeah. So, yeah,
thank you
all those guys.
I would like to thank everyone as well, especially myself.
Yeah.
That's very on brand. Okay.
No. And I do like nothing with the draft board. In fact, I was asked to do things I said I would, and then I didn't do them.
Didn't do them. It's true. That's why some of the expand pools were a little wonky. But I'll have the official draft article going up in minutes, and so if you missed the show, you can read it there. It's basically the same thing. And when does the new season start?
Yeah, that's
I'm pretty sure the 9th is what I said. So
wow.
Yeah, we got a little bit of time. We'll see what happens once all the teams are put together.
Okay. I'm usually off Mondays, so what do you guys say next week, same time, we do the season preview?
Season preview is fun. That's another good thing when we actually get to look at everybody's readied up teams
and tell them how bad they're going to be. And then they do better than we thought. All right. Thank you, gentlemen. It's been fun. Anyone who is watching now in the future, enjoy if you can. We may have been a little mean, but it's all in good fun. So
always are.
Catch you next time.
All right, bye, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.